What is up, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans? I am back with another episode review breakdown thing for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And this is the 5th episode of the final season. And I love this show. I mean, the way I feel about this show is very similar to Stargirl, which is airing on the CW and DC Universe. So, by the way, if you also enjoy Stargirl, then in case you don't know, I do have another YouTube channel called the DC Life, which is basically this channel, The Marvel Life, but with DC videos and DC content. So go ahead and check that out if you're also a fan of Stargirl like I am, because I post episode reviews and news videos about that show along with a bunch of other DC stuff. So if you like that show, I just posted my review for the most recent episode, so go check that out. Yeah, I'll leave the link in the description if you want to go check that out. But yeah, now back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself. The team is back in the 50s again, or still is, and the last episode was really good. Also, I found one of the best memes that I've ever seen from it, so now we have Moist, so this is one of the best things I've ever seen, so that's very nice. But in this episode, the team is once again spending another episode kicking around in 1955, and they're dealing with the fallout of last week's mission, and the looming assassination of Agent Carter fan favorite Daniel Sousa is definitely going to cause a problem for them this episode. But does Mac and the rest of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. decide to finally change the past for the better? I don't know. We gotta wait and find out. Except we already did. But just a quick spoiler warning here, so in case you have not yet seen this episode, then go ahead and check it out, because I don't know what you're doing here if you haven't watched the episode yet, because it's a great episode, so go ahead and watch it, and then you can come back here and find out my thoughts and everything. So, yeah, without further ado, you have been spoiler warned, so let's jump into the episode. So like I said, I really love this. I mean, this episode was definitely a fun one. And, you can tell that they're pulling out all the stops for the final new adventures in this season. And this week we get a hard-boiled black and white throwback, thanks to Coulson's malfunctioning reboot, narrated by Coulson in the vein of a classic detective noir. And we even get the throwback-style credit into intro to really sell it, and I love how they have a different title card for every episode based on the time period. That's always really cool to see, because that really helps sell it as well. And the framing is a fun tool to tell the story, as we pick up with Sousa's mission that turns out to be his last. That's right, July 22nd, 1955 is a famed day in S.H.I.E.L.D. history when Daniel Sousa heroically dies delivering a critical piece of tech to Howard Stark. So Sousa has Coulson in custody, though he quickly uses his history of S.H.I.E.L.D. knowledge to convince Sousa he's actually the contact he'd been waiting for to complete his mission. And essentially, last week's events inadvertently threw the timeline off course. So Coulson is doing his best to nudge everything back in the right direction, but then the mission carries them to a train where they're contending with not just rogue Chronicoms, but also Russians and Hydra. So what could be worse than that situation right there? So it'd been established S.H.I.E.L.D. history that Russians were responsible for killing Sousa, and the Russians were explored a lot in the Agent Carter show, and that's why Sousa has so much history of them. But we know it was actually Hydra forces who take him out, so that they can preserve the secret infiltration of the agency that won't be revealed until Captain America the Winter Soldier, one of the greatest twists and reveals of all time. But along the way in this journey, the Chronicoms try to cut a deal with Coulson to spare his team if they just give up and let the Chronicoms take over Earth. So it seems the team is at least becoming enough of a thorn in their side that they'll shift strategy. But when Coulson rebuffs, the Chronicoms vow to escalate, and Coulson says they'll be doing the same. So I'm excited to see where this goes from here and how they actually escalate the stakes here. But just when it seems like the Hydra agents have the upper hand on Sousa, Mac and Daisy show up to save the day after dropping into the train via a cloaked ship. And the team helps Sousa make it to his drop, and Sousa makes a run for it to complete his mission, not realizing that historically it's his last mission. But after some debate here, Mac decides to change history this time around and save Sousa, though they have to really get creative to keep the timeline intact along the way. And I love the writing that they had in this episode, because this whole idea here of how they found the loophole with having LMD Coulson take Sousa's place getting shot, and as far as history is concerned, Agent Sousa died a hero. That's just like the perfect way to do this, because then you can still have Agent Sousa be alive, but then still not mess up history, because everybody still thinks that Agent Sousa died. Because like I said, he's not dead. He's alive and well, and now he's teaming up with S.H.I.E.L.D. And we know and love these characters, and they're going to go up against the Chronicoms together. But when Coulson finally comes clean about their time-traveling, alien-fighting mission, Sousa takes it all in a stride. Like, one swipe there. Like, I mean, what do you expect from a veteran S.H.I.E.L.D. agent? Like, even one plucked from the 1950s, Sousa makes the jump to the next time period and gets ready for action. And we don't actually know the exact date, but, of course, judging by Alice Cooper's No More Mr. Nice Guy playing on the radio, it's likely somewhere around 1973 or so. So, we're going to the 70s. But before I get into more about what next episode is going to be about and what we can look forward to, let's talk about some assorted musings in this episode. So, away from the main storyline and the main plot of the episode, Deke and Yo-Yo go on a side mission to recover the tech that Sousa was supposed to deliver. And they get it before the Chronicoms arrive, but then Deke is captured by Hydra agents in the process. And he's been taken to the Hydra leader, who turns out to be, you guessed it, Wilfred Malick, aka Freddie Malick, the guy we saw in the first 2 episodes of this season. So that's the same young man that Deke saved a few decades prior. And Deke actually jogs his memory, and Malick lets him go because of that, paying off that old debt when Deke helped him complete his mission and saved his life. But it's clear that part of history has stayed the course, and Wilfred, or Freddy, is now a stone-cold killer. So, yeah, he's evil. But we also figure out what's wrong with May in this episode, at least partially. Because while there were many theories and rumors going around that maybe she has been possessed or, like, controlled by S.H.I.E.L.D, or, like, she is S.H.I.E.L.D, now it seems that her time spent in the other dimension at the end of last season has left her devoid of emotion, but she can feel the emotions of others when she touches them. And it's why she freaked out during the assault last week when fleeing scientists bumped into her, and why she geeks out when touching Simmons. But when no one is touching her, she's emotionless. I mean, she even touches Coulson but feels nothing. So it seems like her ability obviously doesn't work with LMDs, which makes sense because, I mean, he's a robot. But this is really interesting because, in this final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., not only is Coulson now an LMD and he basically has powers because he's like bulletproof and super strong and stuff. So it's like you got Coulson with powers now. And now, in this final season, we're also getting May with superpowers. So this is really interesting because the whole idea of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that none of them really have powers, except, like, of course, Yo-Yo and Daisy. But it's going to be really interesting going forward, seeing May with powers, and then seeing more of Coulson being an LMD and all that stuff. But I'm really excited to see where this goes, because there's a lot they can do with this. But we also catch up with Enoch in this episode, who's actually spent the last few decades biding his time and tending bar at Koenig's all these years. And he's created a radio to contact the Zephyr in case they ever came back, which he probably assumed they would. And he basically serves as the communications man from the bar this week. And sadly, the team still isn't able to pick him up before jumping again, so Enoch is still traveling through time the old-fashioned way. But he's a Chronicom, so it's not like he'll die from old age or anything. But he also seems to be getting a bit bitter about his lot in life being left behind again. Like, he even says that he feels like he's alone, and I mean, like, honestly, he is, because he's from the future, but he's the only one there in the future, and now he just has to live through life on his own, basically. I mean, he has Koenig, and we saw that friendship and relationships start to grow in episode 2, but we didn't see him appear in this episode at all, so I don't know, maybe he's dead by now, maybe he's dead at this point, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely excited to see what more we'll see from Enoch in the future of this season. But then we have, of course, our post-credit scene for this episode, and this basically shows us that the season's 2 big bads are teaming up. So a Chronicom, which is the main Chronicom that we've seen in all 4 episodes here, he stays behind and approaches Malick about joining forces, manipulating time to make sure Hydra comes out victorious. So this is really exciting, because, I mean, last season and this season, basically the main villains have been the Chronicoms. And then the first couple seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was all about Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra. So now you bring those together, team up the Chronicoms and Hydra, then it's an even bigger threat. And this is going to be the biggest threat that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has ever fought and ever taken on. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to pull this off and how they're able to, you know, defeat these villains, because it was hard enough to defeat one of them on their own, but now both of them, both species or races or groups of these villains, I'm really excited to see this. I like seeing this other version of Wilfred Malick, because of course we saw the younger version, and now we're seeing a version of him that's like a couple decades older. So it's really interesting seeing like the same characters just like decades older, and like basically these different ages of the same characters. And like I said, I'm really excited for this season. I've loved the first 4 episodes so far. If you haven't checked out my other episode reviews and breakdowns for this, then go check them out, because, you know, I explain everything with what's going on, all my thoughts and everything, and yeah. But what did you guys think about this episode? Please let me know all your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. What are you most excited for to see in the rest of the season, and who's your favorite character? For me, I think I have to say it's probably Enoch. I mean, we haven't seen much of him because the past couple episodes he's been stuck in the past, but from what we have seen of him, he's a really great character. I've also really enjoyed seeing more Deke, and of course I love Daisy because, I mean, first of all, she has superpowers, and, well, she's hot, so yeah. But who's your favorite character? Let me know down in the comments below, and like I said, all your thoughts and theories along with that. So if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like so you can support my channel and help me grow so that my videos can get even bigger and better. And yeah, so also hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.